Chosen one. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, even as static hums through the wires around you and screens flicker in the dark, there is a mystery playing out around your very body. A mystery that has been buried beneath layers of doctrine and ignored in most pulpits. But it is happening right now in the electromagnetic fields that surround you. I am not just talking about goosebumps on your skin when someone speaks a word that is straight from God. I am not just talking about a sense of peace settling on your body when you stand in worship. There is hidden science at work right now on your behalf, even when you can't see it, even when you can't feel the change, even while the world chalks up their own restlessness to nerves and calls your clarity superstition. Let me tell you what's happening right now as heaven marks you as chosen, and the currents that carry radio and data and whispers in the atmosphere start to vibrate differently when you walk into a room. Let me take you into a moment, a very specific moment, the kind you know all too well. It's 3 a.m. again. Darkness stacked on every side, windows black as obsidian, and you're lying there with your heart pounding so loud you can feel it in your throat. The phone next to you pulses with silent notifications, some vibration left over from a group chat that means nothing to you. You're scrolling to find relief. Social feeds, news, old messages from someone you thought understood you. Nothing lands. You try to slow your breath, but the more you try, the more the panic needles its way behind your ribs. There's a shock of cold sweat at the base of your neck, pooling down your back. Sheets tangled around you like the cords behind your nightstand. You rehearse prayers you learned as a child. God, if you're real, be real to me right now. But the feeling doesn't shift. Your legs twitch. Your eyes burn. You've tried a half dose of melatonin, chamomile tea, lavender on your wrists. But your body buzzes on a frequency you can't tune out. And when the sky finally starts to lighten, when the clock inches towards 6:21 a.m., and the birds start their shrill announcements, you're still raw, still empty, still feeling like everyone else woke up recharged. But you stumbled through a night of static and interference and came out exhausted. This is not just anxiety, not just mind tricks. There is a war running electrical through the air around you, because your field, your whole life, is a transmitter and a receiver of what the world can't see. Here's what you need to understand. God set it up this way. When He called you out, marked you as chosen, He stamped Himself not only on your spirit, not only in your heart, but in the very pulses of energy coming off your body. Scientists have names and numbers for some of this. Electromagnetic fields, resonance, the Schumann frequency, skin conductance, EEG, ECG. But they don't tell you the whole truth. Because there is something about a person marked and protected by God that cannot be measured, not with any lab equipment, not by MRI or biosensor. I'm telling you, chosen people move through public places and whole rooms shift. Consider the unexplained hostility at work. The friend who suddenly ghosts you, the stranger who glares for no reason. You think it is about personality, about something you did, but it's not. It's the conflicting current, the frequency of your God-breathed identity brushing up against what is broken in their field. Let me show you exactly what that means for your life right now as you hear these words. There are moments when someone plots against you and afterward they claim bad luck. They file the paperwork meant to undermine you, and overnight their laptop fries. They drive to confront you and their tire bursts or their engine won't turn over. You do not have to shout. You do not have to defend yourself with fists or fight with words. The very electromagnetic field set by your anointing creates interference, redirects attacks, sends disruption back to the sender. You witness small interruptions in their life. Meetings that never materialize, emails swallowed in the server, signals lost on the line. This is not mere coincidence. It is not random interference. When someone rises up against a chosen one, Even technology starts to rebel under the hand of heaven. And you, always the scapegoat, always the one who causes trouble just by showing up, you start to realize that what follows you is the shield nobody else sees. The system cannot process it, so it rejects you, but rejection by the world is protection by the heavens. Let me explain the financial side because it gets real and raw here. Right now, in this season where you don't even know how the bills will get paid, you watch as people around you try to manipulate your favor, intercept your opportunity, undercut your prospects. They run campaigns, they send emails behind closed doors, they drop shade in the group chat, all designed to choke out your paycheck. And yet, month after month, something keeps breaking you through. The bank statement is never flush, but somehow you're not evicted. The invoice comes through just in time, the utilities run another week, the car makes it one more day. Others suffer loss, but the loss that should have landed on you slides past. What should have drained your account ends up draining their own. They hustle for followers and attention, they buy ads and boost posts, and the algorithm eats their money. But your message finds the right set of eyes. You reap where you did not sow. You gather in fields where you have no passport because the field, the literal unseen energy field, is set to attract the provision you need and to repel the vultures who want to devour it. This is not new age, not wishful thinking, but the raw mechanics of favor. Let me show you what happens in relationships, both public and private. When someone attempts to sow chaos in your family, to poison connection between you and those you love, to spark drama in a circle that was once peace. It works at first. There's tension in the air, a charge of anxiety the moment you walk into the house, words catch in your throat, text messages misunderstood. But give it time and watch how people who tried to hijack your connection suddenly disconnect themselves. Their phone numbers stop working. They ghost everyone, their own relationships sour. The interference they transmit returns to source. And you, silent and waiting, find yourself surrounded by a smaller circle, but one where loyalty is thick, where truth comes without negotiation. You were accused of dividing, but what you were really doing was being preserved in the aftermath of the shockwave. Let me take you into the health of your body because this is where the enemy tries to tap in most. There have been seasons when your body wouldn't cooperate. Weird rashes, headaches, fatigue with no diagnosis, scans that show nothing but still you ache. You try changing your diet, over-the-counter remedies, new habits, but every effort leaves you more frustrated. What you're really fighting is not just illness but infiltration. Attempts to breach the field heaven set around your cells. There are nights when you lie awake and imagine the worst, when WebMD becomes a spiral and every cough sounds like destiny about to be cut short. But then, not all at once, but like dawn cracking through eastern clouds, energy comes back, sleep settles in, symptoms fade and test after test returns normal. The healing the doctors never predicted takes root, because what the world can't see is the recalibration of your environment, the resetting of your field, the hedges that invisible angels attend to at the edges of your atmosphere. Let me tell you also about influence, about your platform, your reputation, because this is so important for every chosen one. You worry that the rumors will stick, that at your next gig people will only remember the lie, not your labor. You fear the platform they've tried to strip from you is gone forever. But God has encoded in your field the kind of resilience that makes your name pop up in conversations you never expected, makes your work land in inboxes you never sent it to, gets your stories told in places you've never stepped foot. Their efforts to silence you become a megaphone for your significance. The harder they press, the further your message travels, like ripples caught up in a radio wave. They cannot track the frequency, they cannot jam the signal because it's coming from above their pay grade. Chosen one, hear this. They wanted you buried in burnout, but you broke through in peace. They wanted your health crippled, but your energy returned suddenly overnight now. They wanted your connections destroyed, but heaven tightened your circle with gold. They wanted your name erased, but right now your voice carries further and higher. They wanted you anxious and unraveling at 3 a.m., but you stood up into the morning, anchored. They wanted your money lost in the algorithm, but provision found you suddenly overnight now. Heaven recalibrated your atmosphere, reset your field, commanded your reality suddenly overnight now. You thought the darkness was going to have the last word, the way you were circled by misfortune, overlooked, shrugged off, called too much or too little depending on their mood. You looked at your hands and saw only fatigue, looked into the mirror and saw only evidence of battles nobody clapped for. There were days not so long ago when every closed door felt final, when each sudden silence on the other end of the phone tried to convince you that your season had ended, that you had missed your window, that your signal was lost somewhere in the howling static between hope and disappointment. The world pointed at your breakdowns, shook their heads at your detours, and spread gossip faster than wildfire, every flaw amplified, every wound treated as proof you didn't belong. You saw your name on their lips for all the wrong reasons and felt the sting of being blamed when you only ever tried to bring peace. Every delay, every setback, every mysterious malfunction felt wrapped in humiliation. What they called evidence you're cursed was simply heaven's cover, heaven's sifting, heaven's process working in a frequency no man could understand. The magnetic pull that repelled opportunity from your hands in one season was preparation, an exact calibration, so that what was not for you would slide off, and what could not miss you would find its mark. Let me tell you what they never expected, the reversal. Not just a simple apology or a half-hearted recognition, but an abrupt realignment that left them speechless. They watched you falter and planned the story of your failure, only to see you resurface in circles they could not imagine. The same voices that once mocked your persistence, the same rooms that laughed behind your back, are now forced to listen as your favor announces you before you even enter. Invitations arrive without you asking. The very spaces that once closed themselves tight against you begin to pull you in, drawn by the charge on your life that even skeptics can't shake off. Suddenly, places you applied to in vain are now reaching out in desperation. Colleagues who never returned your calls now call you essential. You don't beg, you don't barter, you don't even campaign for it. Your very presence begins to unlock doors that stayed bolted through every past attempt. What was once a season of silence becomes a season of repeated requests for your wisdom, for your presence, for your unique spark. Let me show you what this reversal looks like on the ground. There are people who spit venom in private, who built coalitions on the foundation of your supposed impossibility. They poured their resources into keeping you boxed in, spent money on experts, consultants, advisors, all dedicated to stopping your voice from reaching its target. They sacrificed sleep over you, losing nights devising narratives and counterplots, chasing a peace they could never buy while their own households became brittle. But watch what happens as heaven flips the script. Suddenly, the more they try to control the narrative, the more the truth about their own hearts starts to leak out into public view. The project they pushed you out of falters without your input. The venture they built on your exclusion collapses as partners lose faith. Staffing crises erupt, resources evaporate, and their morale disintegrates under the weight of division. Every campaign run to undermine you ends up exposing the cracks in their own foundations. What they tried to bury comes up in the news feed for all to see. The real imbalance, the real betrayal, the real deficit of integrity. It becomes undeniable no matter how they spin it. The hands that sowed confusion are now tangled in their own nets. And just as the tables are turning, here's how vindication steps in. Not as gloating, not as retaliation, but as a testimony that speaks louder than any rumor. The blessings start showing up, unmistakable, measured, specific. Money that seemed out of reach appears in ways nobody can explain. An old bill forgiven, a grant you never applied for. Royalties or random reimbursements find their way into your account. Medical results shift from worrying to improving overnight. Children you wept and prayed over begin to thrive and excel. Teachers start calling with good news. Estranged family members reach out with changed hearts and clarity about the past. Everything you lost in one season is not just restored, but doubled. You learn one day that the closed door you mourned was the very protection you needed from disaster behind that threshold. What shunned you was, in fact, shielding you. Let me take you deeper into the commission that follows such vindication. This is not about returning to where you started and picking up scraps. This is about walking in authority you never felt fit to hold. The reversal is not just survival or luck, it's promotion, a setting apart for visible demonstration. You find yourself given the mic, the platform, the responsibility to speak life into places of drought. The circles grow wider. You're no longer the outsider, you're now the anchor, the reference point, the example others reference. Children and strangers confide in you without knowing why. Authority figures repeat your phrases, leaders quietly consult you for guidance behind the scenes. Your field, your literal electromagnetic field, draws the right allies, the right opportunities, the kind of authentic connections that can't be bought or fabricated. You find yourself repelled by old patterns, protected from old traps, shielded from familiar drama. People wonder where your boldness came from, how your stammer turned into proclamation, how you walk upright after so many storms. You realize this was never just about your comfort or your breakthrough alone. This charge is a commission, a call to host a new frequency in every environment. You're no longer surprised when electronics malfunction in contentious meetings, when voices of confusion falter and drop calls while your message comes through loud and clear. When you touch sick bodies and prayers seem to short-circuit the prognosis, you remember there's energy running through you, energy heaven activated, a signature only the Holy Spirit can set. You start expecting divine interruptions, welcoming the glitches that protect you, the delays that deflect attacks meant for your downfall. You protect your peace because you now know it is precious infrastructure, the foundation for everyone you are sent to lift up. Let me break this down for you. Your life becomes the evidence. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who could never understand your blueprint. You lose the urge to clear your name in comment sections or through angry late-night texts. You start moving different, walking past slander with your chin up because you know your fruit will shout louder than any fabricated story. You stop trying to gain access where the field will never harmonize with yours. You see the double agents for what they are, not as threats, but as unintentional launch pads accelerating you into your next season. You become immune to the gaslighting, deaf to the discouragement, because there's a field of discernment around you that starts sounding alarms before trouble even arrives. You know before the call drops, before the meeting unravels, before the handshake turns cold. What used to catch you off guard now feels like confirmation. You are not backward. You are not unlucky. You are God's anomaly. Proof that the unseen realm still calls the shots when the world thinks it holds the remote. And so you stand, commissioned not just for survival but for conquest. You become the breaker in the bloodline, the first to do what nobody else risked. The answer to prayers your ancestors never got to see fulfilled in their lifetimes. The very atmosphere in your home shifts. You sense it in the way children sleep deeper, in how anxiety loses its grip, in the resilience that stretches through your bones even on the hardest days. The electromagnetic field around you is no longer a zone of sabotage, but a radius of blessing. Peace that radiates, joy that echoes, purpose that draws in strangers who were stranded on the margins. Some will never understand how you made it out. They will search for natural explanations, networking, luck, some secret sponsor, but they will never be able to explain away the evidence, because evidence follows you everywhere now. Every contract signed, every healed body, every restored connection, every check in the mail, every story of, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but confirms what the world can neither buy nor counterfeit. So now witness the commission stamped on your name. You move from defense to offense, from hiding in the static to commanding the signal. You carry breakthrough into rooms where anxiety once ruled. You set off alarms in hostile places, not because you are trouble, but because you disrupt the altars of confusion simply by showing up. Your instructions are simple. Keep your heart clean, your frequency tuned heavenward, your field uncluttered by bitterness or regret. Step boldly, not just for your own sake, but for every chained soul in the proximity of your assignment. Here is my closing decree over you, chosen one, resonating through every unseen current, every charge in the air, every place your foot treads. They tried to overload your spirit, but you absorbed the blow and rose up charged. They tried to mute you, but your words now travel on frequencies they cannot jam. They tried to black out your reputation, but heaven spotlighted your name. They tried to trap you in endless analysis, but you broke out to intuition and action. They tried to scatter your relationships, but right now they are magnetized with loyalty. The places that felt like endings are opening as beginnings. The rejections forged your authority, the trials tuned your reception, the setbacks increased your broadcast. Suddenly, overnight now, you are not just carried, you are commissioned. You are the field, you are the breaker, you are the evidence of the storm's reversal. Carrying power that multiplies, carrying peace that repels darkness, carrying a message that cannot be silenced, suddenly, overnight, now. Let me tell you what happens when reversal takes root. Not just a moment of reprieve, but the slow, steady turn that resets your entire atmosphere. It starts in the strangest ways, the ways you don't even notice until afterward. Your phone rings out of nowhere and it's someone who once left you in the dark, calling now with apology in their voice. A softness when once there was only cold calculation. They want to meet, to clear the air, to reconnect. But as you listen, something inside tells you this isn't a return. It's confirmation you have outgrown the circles you once begged to enter. There's a shift in you. You hear old invitations and feel no longing, because what you've tasted in the secret place is richer than any table that once rejected you. Vindication is not an announcement. It's a quiet knowing, a deep settling in your bones that what you suffered did not diminish your worth. It sharpened it. Let me show you how the world changes in response, almost imperceptibly at first and then suddenly with such force you can't deny it. The attacks that used to sting simply lose their power. Words that once rattled your chest start bouncing off, falling flat to the floor, harmless. The same people who once carried stories about you now scramble to scrub the record. They send rushed messages laced with awkward kindness, pretending the past never cut as deep as it did. It doesn't matter. You see through it all and you find yourself unaffected, not hardened, not bitter, just free. Because right now, the reversal is working. Vindication is happening. Not because your enemies bowed, but because you, chosen one, have changed positions. You've moved from the back of the line to the front, from overlooked to necessary, from tolerated to set apart. The very field around you carries the evidence. Your sleep deepens, your laughter returns, old heaviness dissolves, and you walk lighter, clearer, with a new confidence that doesn't need to convince anyone of your value. Listen carefully. There was a season they wagered everything that you would break. Your silence to them was weakness, your retreat was proof they'd won. But now, as you step into this fresh atmosphere, the whole narrative is in shambles. They no longer control the story, no longer determine the terms of your worth. Their whispers become background noise to the song God plays over your life. Vindication is not humiliation. There's no need for you to parade your survival. It's in your posture, in your steady joy, and how you move through rooms with the ease of the truly free, no longer scanning for approval. The looks you once interpreted as judgment, you now recognize as disbelief. How did you come through that? They wonder. They never expected you to shine after all that static, after all the sabotage. But here you are, throwing light under every rooftop. And every step you take confirms what heaven always knew. The obstacle never had the last word. The verdict rendered over you was always favor, always increase, always a charge that multiplies in crisis. You are stepping into commission now, and let me break this open for you so you see it clearly. Commission is not a medal for having endured. It is a mantle. It's the authority to speak in atmospheres that used to drown you in intimidation. It's a release of stewardship, the burden of other lives attached to your rising. Heaven has watched you in the cave, watched you keep your words clean when you could have cursed every passerby, watched you offer patience when you were owed apology. That consecration became the tuning fork for your new authority. And now, as the field around you recalibrates, you start to sense the urgent undertow. You don't just exist for yourself. You are commissioned for the stuck, the tormented, the ones lost in the static. Let me bring you into scenes that prove this out. You find yourself sitting with people who can't explain why they're telling you the truth. They start to unpack secrets before you and gasp at their own honesty. Their hearts pick up the frequency of your peace, and suddenly, what was guarded for years comes pouring out. So at meetings, you speak with an authority that silences confusion. The room waits for your word, and when you release it, clarity breaks through. Meetings that would stall for hours pivot because of your presence. Decisions you make ripple out, doors open, obstacles fall, teams align. Simply because you carry a resonance that can't be faked or replicated. This is not charisma. This is commission. The field you carry repels sabotage and attracts order. Your yes has weight. Your no creates boundary. People can't explain it, but they recognize it. You walk with a kind of assurance that turns chaos into calm, panic into purpose, accusation into affirmation. In your own house, you notice it most. The sleep that once came only through exhaustion now enters easily, a shelter settling over you and everyone entrusted to you. Children thrive in your presence, even when you don't have the words to guide them. Arguments lose steam, drama fails to ignite, because the field around you refuses to carry old patterns. You pray casually now and things shift quickly. A bill gets paid before you even finish the last word. A relationship you thought was lost turns up at your door with newfound humility. A job you never applied for finds your resume. You start expecting goodness. You see patterns of blessing overtaking you not because you chase them, but because you attract them. Doors that once took years to pry open now swing without effort, the timing always precise, never late. The delays that used to infuriate you now make sense. They held you in place long enough to catch a blessing labeled with your name. People will ask for your secret. They'll investigate your habits, your routines, maybe even borrow your language. But what you carry cannot be mimicked because your field has been through the furnace. The charge is only birthed in endurance. The commission only trusted to those who refused to quit when darkness was thickest. Others complain about their luck, their connections, but you know differently. You know what it cost. You know what it means when heaven marks a life. You know midnight agony, the long wrestle of 3 a.m. when nothing numbs the ache but his presence. The commission comes to those who stood anyway, who hoped anyway, who did not become what bitterness invited. Let me be clear, it will not always be understood and it will not always be comfortable. As your authority grows, the separation continues. Not everyone will celebrate your vindication. Some will double their efforts, talk twice as loud, try to throw confusion at your clarity. But they cannot breach your boundaries anymore. Your field shields you. Their interference only amplifies your testimony. As you speak, rooms shift. Where there was lethargy, there is urgency now. Where there was apathy, there's hunger. Where there was division, teams align. You will watch former enemies become unlikely allies. Watch those who fought you become advocates. Watch chains break that were welded for generations. You will see justice meted out, not on your terms but heaven's. Swift, decisive, unmistakable. Doors that could never open for your name swing wide on their own. And then comes the responsibility, heaven's signature on your assignment. You are trusted with influence, with resource, with access. You are sent as an answer, not just an example. You commission others as you walk, identify gifts in them, impart courage, break off limitations simply by proximity. You become a carrier. Your life becomes a portal for deliverance, your prayers a lifeline for those drowning where you once stood. This isn't casual, it isn't soft. It's authority tested by fire and validated by grace. Where you go, cycles end. Where you partner, new blueprints emerge. Where you touch, miracles erupt. It looks normal from the outside, just a conversation, just a coffee, just a decision, but the results don't add up to human effort. Now I speak this closing decree over you, chosen one, with every current in the atmosphere bearing witness. They waited for your breakdown, but all they witnessed was your breaking forth. They strategized your isolation, but now you're surrounded by loyal ones you never had to buy. They plotted poverty, but generosity overtook you. They built barriers, but access was handed to you on keys they can't duplicate. They wanted you silent. Now your voice is broadcast on frequencies they can't track. They wanted you stranded. Now your steps are ordered and your pace is set by heaven. They wagered on your delay, but now timing accelerates on your behalf. Doors swing, tides turn, the current is reversed. You're not just an overcomer. You carry commission, you carry consequence, you carry breakthrough. Evidence piles up, vindication multiplies, authority flows. Suddenly, overnight, now, let me show you what reversal really means in the life of someone chosen. It isn't just a single moment of relief. It's the momentum of every hard season turning against the gravity that tried to hold you down. Suddenly, people who excluded you can't remember why they left you out, and the opportunities that dodged your reach now circle back and land in your lap while you're not even looking for them. You walk through rooms that once felt thick with invisible rejection and sense the shift in the air, a quiet reverence where dismissal used to live. The difference is undeniable. What was awkward and strained before is now full of space and invitation. Faces once shuttered open up to you. Invitations come from people who never acknowledged your presence before. The same voices that criticized now shape their messages to match your cadence, mimic your ideas, quote your insights as if they were always on your side. There's a reason for this, and you cannot miss it. Reversal is a sign that heaven honors the secret history of your pain. Every night you spent wrestling with confusion, every sunrise where you decided to rise again and answer your calling when no one was clapping. That was seed, not waste. Those seeds fell deep and grew in dirt that others would never touch. When reversal hits, it doesn't just repair what was broken, it builds on it. The places you cried over now become your strongholds. The stories you tried to forget get rewritten as evidence. The embarrassment, the isolation, the accusations. Heaven makes them foundations for the new. People can't believe how confident you look moving through the same streets where you were misunderstood. But you understand that reversal has nothing to do with their approval. It's confirmation straight from the hand of God that every cost was calculated. You discover how many are watching your journey, rooting for your collapse, only to witness the curtain lift and your true self revealed. Not defeated, not bitter, but anchored. Let me tell you about vindication. It's not about a public spectacle, not about condemnation of your accusers. Vindication is a restoration of your record in a way the world can't dispute. Suddenly, the ways you were talked about get exposed as gossip. The assumptions people made turn against their own agenda. And the stories they used to paint you as unstable start to sound hollow. Vindication is the undeniable presence of fruit, results nobody can deny, growth that goes on record, respect that cannot be faked. The ones who doubted your judgment now want your advice. The ones who mocked your boundaries now put up their own to mirror yours. The very arguments they used to justify your dismissal unravel in their hands. Old conflicts fade not because you finally fought back, but because God spoke a word that settles the atmosphere, silences the opposition, pulls the rug out from every false narrative. Don't be surprised if people you barely remember try to reconnect, hoping to borrow light from the field that surrounds you now. It goes even deeper than public shifts. You sense vindication in the small things, the way your mind quiets at night, the ease you feel in your own presence, the peace that feels tailor-made for you after years of relentless tension. The emotional weariness that once made every decision feel loaded now melts into discernment, lightness, flexibility. You realize you're no longer carrying everyone else's projections, only what is yours. And in releasing what's not yours, your hands open for blessings you couldn't have received while clutching someone else's story. Vindication means your greatest injuries become wells of authority. You find clarity where confusion reigned, wisdom where you once only had wounds. Your prayer life deepens, not in desperation, but in affirmation. You wake up with praise on your lips instead of anxious rehearsals. Rest returns to your bones. Every restless night becomes the fuel for new dreams. And when vindication settles in, commission is close behind. You stop living for applause and start moving by assignment. The season of proving yourself ends, and the season of walking in fullness begins. People recognize you for what truly surrounds you now: the aura, the field, the effortless authority that follows a person tested in private. You find yourself carrying solutions you never studied, intuition for problems you never prepared for, and a boldness to address things others dance around. Doors open not just for your sake, but for those who are waiting on the other side. People God intends for you to reach, influence, set free. You become an answer to prayers whispered in rooms you'll never see. Commission pulls you into spaces that feel bigger than you, forces you to outgrow your fears, compels you to put your foot down where generations before you would have cowered. Let me show you how the evidence of commission multiplies. Suddenly your words carry weight. They stop arguments before they start, unravel decades of bitterness, heal places that counseling failed to touch. Your advice isn't just suggestions, it becomes direction that shifts the trajectory of families, organizations, entire communities. People who never valued your insight now seek you out in crisis, reaching out not because you promoted yourself, but because something in your atmosphere draws what is authentic and repels what is false. You see resources multiply in your hands, money stretches, contracts find you. Scholarship and favor arrive before the need even arises. You walk into rooms underqualified, but with the kind of presence they can't ignore. The favor that lands isn't random. This is what commission looks like. God gives you more than enough because He can trust you with the overflow. Commission also brings responsibility. You find yourself protecting your field more fiercely, not allowing just anyone access to the places heaven has sanctified in you. You recognize that every relationship, every opportunity, every handshake has consequence. The people who come near feel changed, even if they don't understand what shifted. You become intentional with your time, your attention. Every yes is strategic. Every no is scripture-backed. Your prayers become sharper, more targeted. You pray and things shake free. Heaviness lifts, confusion breaks. Strategies come into alignment. You speak and the room resets. You listen and people find clarity in what they say to you. This is the flow of commission. Authority to carry, wisdom to handle, vision to multiply. But there is more. With commission comes the weight of legacy. You start to see your life played out in timelines you'll never fully witness. Children, communities, co-workers catch wind of your perseverance and begin to ask bigger questions, dream wider dreams. Old cycles in your family line snap. Addictions lose power. Patterns of poverty, of quitting too soon, of holding back get interrupted. People credit you for change, but the truth is you're just the first in your line to say yes in a way that changes everything. You watch unexpected favors sweep over your household. Jobs open, relationships heal, creativity blooms, new pathways appear where there were only dead ends before. It's not just your story anymore. It's every life connected to your obedience that gets caught up in the charge. You used to pray just to survive the day. Now your prayers unleash generational blessings. Patterns reverse. Battles you fought are never handed down. Where there was torment, now there's peace. Where there was instability, now there's foundation. This doesn't happen because you're louder than your critics or smarter than your enemies, but because you allowed heaven's reversal to set you in place. Let vindication speak for you. Let commission propel you beyond self-preservation and into purpose that ripples far beyond your years. Now let me speak the decree over your life. Let it thunder through every current, ride every invisible frequency, settle into the marrow of your days. They tried to erase your story, but now your testimony is required reading. They predicted you would fail, and now your success sits as their silent rebuke. They silenced your song, but heaven turned your spirit into an anthem that can't be muted. They thought they could outrun your influence, but grace overtook the field. They waited for your loss to go viral, but your gain multiplied in secret. They hoped your vision would blur, but now you see with precision. They wanted a casualty, but all they witnessed was a commission that could not be revoked. You rise into the legacy heaven wrote in the records, a continual breakthrough, a standing stone. Evidence piles up, favor marches in, the cycles break, the lineage is new, the current is reversed, the charge multiplies, suddenly, overnight, now.